Gotcha. Kaitlin Armstrong has been nabbed in Costa Rica. Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, it turned out the cops were keeping their cards close to their chests. A previous story I did stating that Kaitlin is still alive, that was a story previous to this one, was really a non-story. But it did raise the question again, was she still in America, or had she sort of bedded down, or had she gone abroad? Well, last night, after 43 days on the run, Kaitlin Armstrong's flight from a crime scene in Austin, Texas, came to an abrupt end. Where? Well, in Costa Rica. And if you think about it, it's quite a strange way that Kaitlin moved. She traveled from Austin, Texas, which is in the southern part of America. It's almost on the Mexican border. And obviously, if you went further and further south, you eventually get to Costa Rica. But what is interesting is she flew in a northeasterly direction to New York, LaGuardia, only to fly back in a southwesterly direction to Costa Rica. And get this, it turned out that Kaitlin did catch a flight from Newark Liberty International on May 18th. That was the last time she was spotted, or that people knew that she was in America. She flew on United Airlines flight 1222 from Newark International Airport at 5:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 18th, arriving in San Jose, Costa Rica at 8:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the same day. But before we get to the rest of this episode, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So when folks suggested that Kaitlin appeared at the airport as a sort of a ploy, as a sort of a misdirection to make people think that she left the country and, perhaps she'd gone on a bus or a train somewhere else, I thought that it was a little unlikely. I thought it was an unlikely risk to take to expose her whereabouts for someone who really didn't want to be seen anywhere. But I also thought, unless she used a fake passport, why else did she pitch up at the airport? There was no record of a Kaitlin Armstrong on any flight manifest. On the other hand, didn't Kaitlin appear on any CCTV footage inside the airport? If she did, well, the authorities haven't let on that they were able to track her movements through the airport and potentially onto a flight manifest, and perhaps even beyond that. I mean, how else did they track her to Costa Rica? What we know now is that Kaitlin flew to San Jose in Costa Rica using a fraudulent passport. So some of that speculation was accurate. You remember I postulated in an earlier video that there were plenty of shadowy operations in the Newark area selling fake documents. This suggests that she applied for a fake passport almost immediately and got the documents in a quick turnaround of just 4 days. I guess she could also have applied online remotely while she was still in Austin, but probably more likely she did so in person. Remember, she landed in New York LaGuardia's airport on May 14th. It also turns out that Kaitlin had plastic surgery. Did she have it during those 4 short days in Newark or New York? I think another question to ask is, what did she do and where was she during those 4 short days? More likely, she had the surgery done in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is known for its medical tourism boom and is currently a favorite destination for reconstructive and cosmetic surgery. This once again confirms Kaitlin's strong intentionality. She acted with strategic assertiveness on the night of May 11th, and ever since May 11th, quickly selling her Jeep and quickly getting far out of Dodge and then out of the country. The question was always whether she would gravitate towards her nous as a realtor, that sort of experience, and use those connections, or towards travel, as we saw in her sister's social media. Well, it turned out to be the latter. She didn't take the unsuccessful Brian Laundrie route, which is to sort of camp somewhere and lie low in the sort of wilderness. She didn't take that route. Instead, she caught flights, but it looks like that didn't turn out either. So what gave her away? I think that she was actually tracked through the airport security, and they managed to actually follow her movements. and then also onto a flight manifest. But that'll probably come out, hopefully it'll come out later as the case possibly goes to trial and all of that evidence comes out in open court. Right now, Kaitlin is currently facing extradition from Costa Rica and will face charges of first-degree murder of Mo Wilson, as well as unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Kaitlin did a lot better than Casey and Vicky White at evading the authorities. That is, if being on the run for 43 days is much better than 11 days. She outlasted Vicky and Casey by a measly 33 days with a lot more resources. I suppose Kaitlin must be asking herself, after everything, was it worth it? So I'm not going to take it further than that. Obviously, this is a developing story, and I'll bring you more information and analysis as more becomes available. I must also apologize. I did want to bring this story out earlier. I heard about it about three and a half hours ago, but immediately, about 4 or 5 minutes after the story broke, we had a 2.5 hour power failure here, so my hands were tied. So it's not as though I've been sitting on my hands, I just wasn't able to do anything. So apologies for that, but I can only do what I can do given the circumstances I'm dealt with myself. In any event, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.